Ah, yes. Okay.
That's the real most important thing. Not hi, how you doing? I'm opening my juice.
Now, is it worth noting that we're recording this very late in the evening?
It's currently 12:27 a.m. in the UK, and I've just opened some Iron Brew Energy.
Well, at least you'll be active.
Yeah, it's their new one. It's called Power Brew, and this flavour is Maverick Berry.
I'm just looking up what our last episode was. Our last episode was Picard Season 3.
Oh, we were on a high.
We also talked about Mando Season 3, so it was a mixed bag.
It was 50-50. No, I kind of maintain to this day, everyone hates Mando Season 3, but I kind of don't.
I don't hate it. It's all the live-action Star Wars shows, it's on the lower end for sure.
Yeah.
It's not the worst. I think Obi-Wan is the worst.
Well, it's just so strange to say.
Now. I mean, look, Ewan McGregor, he's great. He's one of us. He's one of our boys. But man, that show was not very good.
But it had good bits.
They all have good bits. That's how they trick you.
Yeah.
Secret Invasion had good bits in it, Nathan.
You know what? You're not wrong.
So yeah, I compiled a quick list because I realised basically we're in the exact same situation we were last year at this time, which is we skipped 5 months and a bunch of stuff came out. And last year we did a recap podcast of all the stuff we missed. I don't think we're going to bother this time.
Nah, but, like what have we missed, you know?
What have we missed? Okay. Jedi Survivor, we both played and liked, but it's fine. I've made a video about it, so it's out of my system.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know my thoughts on anything that Kel's discussed in the video, go to the comment section. I've probably said something.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3, it was pretty good.
I watched it on a cruise ship.
That sounds nice.
Oh, it was lovely.
Star Trek Resurgence, another game, surprisingly good.
Very surprisingly good. It was walking around's a little bit rudimentary. It felt like a little bit of Star Trek Online action, but the story was fantastic.
Oh yeah. Secret Invasion was terrible.
God, I was running high on that. I thought we were going to have another Winter Soldier on our hands. Not.
See, you were kind of into it for the first few episodes. I was out since episode 1.
Yeah, Kyle checked out long before I did, ladies and gentlemen. I kind of thought I could see all the pieces on the chessboard, all the ingredients on the chef's table, but just nothing was constructed coherently. And then whenever they did do something interesting, it felt they should have maybe done it an episode and a half ago, and there wasn't a lot of episodes to use, so it was just so much wasted potential. Forget about the name, which is supposed to be one of the biggest storylines in the Marvel Comics.
Yeah, it was bad. I made a 45-minute video on that, I think, so...
Yeah.
So that's out of my system too. Star Trek Strange New World Season 2, I've made 2 videos about.
It's true.
So that's well out of my system. I also just released a video about very short treks.
I can engage you there because I watched that video not long before we recorded this episode, and I have thoughts. Because after watching your video, I actually went and caught up on very short treks.
Okay. Please, let's discuss.
So yeah, let's discuss. So, I 100% agree with you for episode 1. What's it called? Skinning the Cat or something?
Skin a Cat, yeah.
It's a lot of boomer humour, and it feels very dated.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, for the right product, the right style, I am not above a bit of slapstick.
Sure.
And I really enjoyed the holiday party short trek, where
that's fair.
Spock is just showing everyone horrific things that's happened, and everyone's just going, no, that's not funny, that's actually horrific, and he's just deadpan saying the phrase blooper reel at all of them. And then he shows him like
I got a couple laughs out of that one.
You did. And then he shows him like his wife leaving him and them saying, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "It's a blooper reel," and a tear's going down his face. Like, that's just really funny to me.
That was my favourite one. I think the main problem is the last one is the least funny one.
I know it's not canon, but it did irk me that thing that I think was supposed to be Captain Giorgio on like a Discovery era ship.
Yep.
And then Saru's there, but he's for no reason at all wearing his future 32nd century uniform.
Some people are saying that's some kind of joke about TOS because they used to get the uniform colours wrong. But, I mean, that's
super inside baseball for that.
And based on the rest of these charts, I don't believe them.
You know what I love, though?
Uh-huh.
The animators, I think they put their heart and soul into it. Like, when it started,
yes.
You know how, like, this Paramount Plus era of Star Trek we're in? They have that little Star Trek
Yeah, they have
animation.
their MCU intro, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right? And for this, they changed the sound to make it sound like 70s TV. Even, like, on the animation of the animated Enterprise flying around, it looked like there was, like, film grain all over it. Like, it looked a little bit dirty on top of the sound.
Yeah, they've got a film grain effect over all of it. I should have mentioned that in the video. The technical stuff is all lovely. Clearly, the animators and the artists were having a good time making this.
Oh, absolutely. I think, like, to visually watch, I got a hoot out of it. There's the Booger People episode. Nice to see Gates McFadden and Jonathan Frakes.
Uh-huh.
Nice to see a TNG look on that animation. But yeah, it just wasn't funny. You can see Kyle's episode on his YouTube channel for, more clarity on it. I pretty much align with Kyle on that. I kind of don't have as big an issue with silly, just kind of bad comedy. Especially with this, it's just so frivolous. But I do basically more or less just line up with Kyle on that episode. The next one, where it's just like a unfolding Russian doll of holodeck freeze program, holodeck M program.
That one's easily the best one.
Yeah, it was nice. Nice they had Mr. Trip Tucker back.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell it's him because his voice isn't that distinct in animation, I guess.
Yeah,
but...
I thought maybe he would have leaned into the southern nature, or the Florida, should I say, nature of Trip. You know what? I got the last episode got one laugh out of me with Tendi on the holodeck speaking to Scotty.
What? Which part?
Oh, I just laughed at the orgy joke.
Oh.
Where Scotty's like, you and your orgies, and then they're like, we'll have an orgy. I mean, just wild.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the musical scene was certainly something.
I honestly, that was a mess. I didn't laugh at all at that.
You know what bothered me about that just a little bit? Oh my, is George Takei's thing. It's not Sulu's thing. Did that bother you at all?
Did he never say that in TOS?
I don't think so. No, I think that's a post-Star Trek thing.
Because it's Family Guy. That's where that comes from. It's a Family Guy Star Trek cutaway. And it's like the Family Guy style of TOS. And they got George Takei to do the bit.
I mean, credit to him. He does say that very well. But, I don't know, it's just it's a very strange little project. I don't know why it exists.
Yeah, you made a good observation about the original short treks when, like, after Disco Season 1 came out. And It was to keep people subscribed to CBS All Access at the time, not Paramount Plus yet, between seasons.
Yeah, because that was back when there was only one Star Trek show running.
Exactly. But this was made and released on YouTube, which, from my perspective, doesn't make a difference to me. But I wonder maybe why they didn't make more of these and make it like a Star Wars Visions, Halo Legends type thing, and they just like anthology and dump it all on Paramount Plus the same day.
It's a lot of work and a lot of money to just throw on YouTube. I agree, because all that animation is quite advanced. All the cast they had to get for it.
Exactly.
It's a lot of people to coordinate. I mean, I assume most of them just recorded it in their bedroom, but
no,
I don't know.
Without a doubt.
We both just finished in the last few days watching Ahsoka. It's done. I think of all the Star Wars shows that had been announced, this was always going to be the one that we had the most thoughts about.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Where to begin? I think it turned out better than I was expecting.
That surprises me, because this whole time I've kind of been holding my breath as to your reaction to this show.
I mean, there's certainly parts of it that I dislike, but I think overall I would say that I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too, and I really wonder how it's going to do it from like a outsider's perspective, because I think me and you kind of knew going in, but just now to have watched it all, probably concur that the Rebels Season 5 nature of it is just so heavy. And for me and you, that's fine. We're fine with that. We're a couple of Star Wars Rebels average enjoyers. But, you know, parents that watch The Mandalorian, my mum thought that was Marvel, by the way, she would be completely lost, you know? Because there's no way that that kind of person is going to backtrack to watch animation that's, especially for the first season, very child-orientated out of the gate. Even if it has darker moments, parents aren't going to give it that long.
Yes. That's why I've been doing Patreon exclusive sort of little rambles on my Patreon. Plug. Yeah, you're not subscribed to my Patreon, so you have no idea what I've said on there.
Yeah, I know, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe it? His own podcast co-host. He doesn't even give like little snippets, unedited, just ramble clips. No, I get nothing.
I mean, I can send that to you if you want. You've never asked.
It's very true. I have never asked. Kyle, I just expect you to read my mind and send me unsolicited Patreon pics.
I mean, or you could just give me the $2 a month, Nathan. Come on.
When this podcast starts giving me $2 a month, I'll start sending you $2 a month.
I see. Okay. Well, I guess I need to pick up the pace on this then.
Yeah, we do.
But no, I would say my perspective on the show changed as it went on. For the first 2 episodes, I was very skeptical, because the show is very much a slow burn. Like, the first 2 episodes, not a lot of stuff happens. Talb shows up, that was very nice, but for the most part, they're very just sort of establishing things, and things don't really pick up until later. I mean, all the way through, it's a very slow-paced show. And I just realised I changed the topic. We were talking about Rebels Connection.
No, I mean, that was absolutely fine. I think that just as a going in person, I think the first few episodes that you're saying that you're worried about actually kind of more or less does ease in your average person, because it does kind of happen just before the Rebels prologue, which I know shouldn't make a big, huge difference, but it does feel like you're jumping in to like almost like Sabine's story at first, and Ahsoka.
I would say the whole show feels like Sabine's story, but that's a different topic.
Well, so I think for like Mr. Rebels watching hardcore person, I think it more maybe feels like Ahsoka's continuation story, but for like a new person, I think Sabine's probably going to be the one that people are like, why is it not about this person here? Who's this Ronin with white lightsabers? I think the show does more to let the newcomer probably gravitate to Sabine more.
I guess she's a slightly more relatable character than Ahsoka.
Much more relatable character.
Yeah, I mean, that's... sorry, I remembered where I was going, which is... the show feels like it was built with Season 2 in mind, even though as of right now, Season 2 is not confirmed. And my only hesitancy on whether we'll get a Season 2 or not is... I just don't know how popular the show is with people outside of mega Star Wars fans.
I happen to think that the show will definitely get a second season, just because I think behind the scenes, unless like the viewing figures are just lower than Andor, which I find hard to believe, I think even like from like a family perspective, this one will have more 4-quadrant appeal for like kids and stuff. It's got cool lightsabers, it's got lots of different kinds of characters.
It's more traditionally Star Wars than Andor, that's for sure.
Absolutely, and if Andor can get a second season, I think this one definitely will. And we are building to the Dave Filoni movie.
Right, yes.
Which I think this is planned out. And I think they would, even if maybe they think, oh, the viewing figures aren't where we want them to be, hopefully they've learned enough from Marvel, at least historic Marvel, to just plant your seeds and know that you're doing something here, you know?
Uh-huh. That is something I appreciate about this show in general, though, talking about having a season 2, is it feels like a show and not like a stretched out movie, which is often our complaint with these Disney Plus shows.
Oh yeah, Marvel especially.
Feel like movies. Marvel especially, yeah. The Star Wars ones are slightly more okay, although Obi-Wan definitely has that feeling of could have been a movie.
I think Obi-Wan was... I mean, we all remember they was supposed to confirm an Obi-Wan movie after Solo came out and Solo tanked, so they cancelled it, and then... Yes, I think it's all kind of known now that the Kenobi show is like a patchwork extension to make a Disney Plus show out of the movie script. I think, Mando and Andor, though, are fairly solid. Star Wars TV is definitely not as guilty as Marvel TV is for just stretching out a movie script.
No, and Star Wars shows generally go slightly longer too, which is nice. They don't feel stuck in that 6 episode limit, which is a bad limit. I
would have liked if Ahsoka had a few more episodes, though. I would have been happy with 10 or 12.
I would like full MTV shows generally, but that era is over, I guess.
That's a dead horse. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was your last foray at that.
Did you see Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. hit its 10th anniversary the other day?
Yeah, God, like the meme of Matt Damon aging really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, when I saw that anniversary, I was like, oh man, I still remember the Hydra twist in that show, but I'd obviously seen Winter Soldier. But I was like, oh my God, they're doing it on the TV.
We're talking in broad. Should we go more specific here? Should we go? We got. Well, let's assume that someone has not watched this show at all. Should we give a brief overview of what happens in Ahsoka? How much background do we need to give for this? That's the thing.
So there's 4 seasons of an animated show that you should watch, but you shouldn't also have to watch for this.
There's also 7 seasons of another animated show that may also be helpful to watch, but not necessarily necessary.
Precisely, exactly. And we got an old Jedi, an experienced Jedi in Ahsoka Tano, the namesake of the show, and she shows up to a planet where her ex-apprentice is just chilling, based on orders given to her by a friend who gone missing at the end of the animated show. And we arrive because things are happening, and the person that went missing, the villain, the baddie of the last season, might be coming back, who's been name dropped in Mando, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Maybe you heard of him.
He's been named dropped in Mando a couple of times now.
Yeah, he's been named dropped in Mando a couple of times, and each time I got really, really excited. And I gotta say, I loved it. I love Lars Mikkelsen as Grand Admiral Thrawn. People had little, maybe, commentaries on him not being as athletic as they think the animated version and the written version is. I don't care. I think so much to me, for my Thrawn, because when I read the Thrawn books, I do it in Audible, so it's a voice. Rebels, that voice of Grand Admiral Thrawn, like a very calm and measured Count Dracula, to me is that is the character outside of being blue and having red eyes. For me, it's the voice. And Lars Mikkelsen is also quite a tall gentleman, and when they film him, when he's like standing next to Sabine when they first meet, or when they're like, giving Sabine her gear to go away, he's standing really close up to her, and they shoot like a side-on shot, and he's towering over her. That's plenty intimidating. I don't care if he's not got like an 8-pack and like broad shoulders, though he has fairly broad shoulders, to be fair. Just terrific. I think my expectations for Grand Admiral Thrawn in the show were just perfectly met, and I can't wait to see more of him.
I think the performance is there. I think just because of the situation, he didn't get to do lots of Thrawn stuff. He was fairly limited in his options.
Yeah, this was just, I think, introducing the character to live-action exclusive viewers, and that was it.
Yeah, and we're skipping ahead here, but, I mean, not much. The Master and Apprentice, they fight a bunch, they go try to find a map. There's some bad guys who also want the map.
Oh, the baddies are so good in this show.
Well, most of the baddies are so good. There's one notable exception.
What notable exception are you talking about?
I'm talking about Morgan, the
Morgan Elsbeth, who gets the sword of Mother Talzin from the Clone Wars for 2 seconds.
I thought that was a bit much. Sorry, you could have come up with another name.
I think they wanted a way to exit the character from the show because she'd outlived her plot use, and they just wanted to try and do service to enjoyers of the character.
She gave a lovely final boss fight. I'll give her that much. But for most of the show, she just sort of stands around looking evil.
Yeah, pretty much.
But her henchman, Balin, he's awesome.
Balin Skull, terrific. Absolutely. Ray Stevenson done an amazing job with this original Star Wars character. He's not from any animated works, he's not from books, not from comics. He's a brand new character. I'm very sad that Ray Stevenson, who passed away before the show debuted, did not get to see the fan reaction to the character. It does seem to me that they will just end up recasting, because the end of this season gave me big Game of Thrones vibes, where like all the characters are separated and they're going to go on their own journey for like a season or two, and then they're all going to come back together again. I'm not saying this show is going to run for 6 or 7 seasons, but it gave that impression of, okay, we're all going to divide for a while, and we're all going to come back again, and we're all going to learn things, you know? Great. And Shin Hati, his apprentice, wonderful character as well. A lot to learn, like she was a little bit impulsive, maybe a little bit less measured than Balin was, but like I'm fine with that right now. She can maybe mature later. Definitely was a great fighter, great actor. I honestly just... I think as I speak about it and think about it more to vocalise it, I'd like it more than I did before we started recording.
I think Shin is a character with potential. She doesn't do loads in this show, but
yeah,
she certainly has moments. I think my favourite Shin part in the whole episode is just after Balin leaves her and says, you know what, you're kind of too evil to go where I'm going, so just go join the Empire or whatever. And it just becomes clear that she actually has no idea what she wants in life. And it's like, that's an interesting place to go with this character. It's like, who is she? What does she want?
I was just going to say that was the one part of the show that still kind of left me a little bit, oh, why are we doing this? And that was, I mean, I'm very excited that all the characters are splitting up and doing their own thing, but it felt like a very hammer into, you know, putting a square peg into a round hole kind of way of getting the two characters to separate. It was just Balin, because Shin Hati had never really been like a loose cannon that Balin struggled to control. It was very much a master-apprentice relationship, and then kind of out of nowhere, he's like, you deal with Ezra Bridger and Sabine Wren. I will just stand here. I've got a feeling Ahsoka's going to show up. And, you know, here's a parting lesson. You know, don't, you know, let your ambition fear you into taking the fast track to power. Be just measured with your approach and everything will work out. I'm going to go my own way, to quote High School Musical. And again, I liked the shooting off point where we're going, but I didn't really buy Balin's reasoning for having them split up.
It felt like a very Jedi mastery type thing to do. I don't know. It didn't bother me. I felt like that felt right. Because you say she's not been like a loose cannon, but she's clearly, from the previous episodes, I thought it was clear that they wanted different things.
I think she was a little bit more hot-headed and a little bit more willing to lean into the, you know, snappy nature of the dark side. But again, because she was the apprentice, and she always ended up listening to Balin. She never, you know, ignored him. It was always like she's still learning. She still has much to learn. She's under his guidance. Let's see where it goes. Now, again, can't wait to see what they do with it. You make a great point that from the second she's out from under Balin's cloak, she's kind of like, actually, what am I doing?
Yeah, because there's the moment when Ahsoka's like, I can help you, and you can see for a minute she kind of considers it. She doesn't immediately turn it down. It's yeah, okay, well, what do we got to do here?
There's that moment where Balin's talking about Jedi trained in the wilderness after the fall of the Order, and she thinks he's talking about her. And he's like, no, I trained you to be something different, something better than ye olde Jedi, you know? Mm-hmm. But not Sith. It's all very undefined, and I would really like more Shin Hati Balin interactions, because I would love to see that relationship develop. Again, unfortunately, it will be without Ray Stevenson, tragically. But the worst, I think, personally, for this kind of thing, where I think Dave Filoni very clearly has a direction here, you can't just kill off the character now because she lost the main actor. You just got to recast.
No, and I'll be okay with that. I think as long as they find someone who's good enough.
Do you want to hear a really silly fan casting for it that everyone's saying?
Who?
Everyone's saying, you know who'd be a great Bale and Skull? Mm-hmm. Gerard Butler.
Oh, I've heard that, yes.
Just because they vaguely look similar. Like, I think Gerard Butler would be like a good Bale and Skull from like 20 years ago if Ray Stevenson and Gerard Butler had a big enough age difference. But I don't know. I think Gerard Butler's got too much of the "this is Sparta" still in him, and I think Bale and Skull's a very measured character.
I mean, let's talk about casting, shall we? I think that in terms of translating the animated characters to live action, it's a mixed bag. I think some of them are fantastic. I think some of them could use some work. Start with fantastic. I think Sabine and Ezra are both pretty much perfect.
I think they feel like they've leapt off of the animated, CGI computer basements.
When the two of them are together, it's just like watching Rebels again. It's perfect.
No, yeah, absolutely. There's not they visually look like the characters, and their artistic talent allows them to do an amazing portrayal of those animated characters. Mm-hmm. They just, yeah, absolutely, I completely agree with you.
I will say, this is a minor nitpick, I didn't need Ezra's eyes to be so blue. There's a level of animated consistency that's not necessary, and I think the blue contacts are a bit much.
I'm hearing lots of people mention about the contacts, especially with Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Hera as well. I'm kind of seeing it more in Ezra than I do in Hera, but for both cases, it's never off-putting to me, though I do notice it.
I don't know what it is. I think they just picked really, really blue contact lenses. They just really stand out. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously Chopper's perfect, although he's not in this show nearly enough.
No, there should be more Chopper.
That's my season 2 request. 100% more Chopper.
Make Chopper like a full supporting character.
Yes. I think that I never quite got there with Hera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead Hera. I don't know what it is. She's not in this show very much, to be fair. She's in it less than I was expecting.
I have come around. I think back when the first 2 episodes came out, me and you, more specifically me, I think, maybe got into a bit of hot water on Twitter X. No,
we're calling it Twitter. We're not calling it X. Don't you dare.
X, formerly known as Twitter. Okay, yeah, Twitter. So, for saying that they both, Ahsoka and Hera, both looked bored, and there was a lot of discussion about, like, what do you want them to do? They're, generals, and they've got to act professional, and the stoicism. And I had made the point that you can watch someone be stoic, but not be boring, and it felt like choices were made.
Yeah, I think within the show, Balin is a good example of that.
Absolutely. I think ultimately I did come round to Ahsoka as the show went on. Someone made a good point that, like, after the reunited with Anakin and she becomes Ahsoka the White, that she did kind of maybe get a little bit more jovial.
Oh, absolutely. There's a clear distinction mark there.
Yeah, so I'm happy about that. Hera, I'll tell you one moment I really bought with her, and it was right at the end when Ezra shows up and he's like, "Hi Hera, like I'm home," and it was such like a mum and son kind of moment. And
I can't believe they cut away before they hugged. I don't know why.
I can't believe either, but I completely bought Mary Elizabeth Winstead's reaction in that scene. Like I felt like there was a history there for 2 actors who have never played these 2 characters together before, which was crazy, If it was animated, it would be easy to buy because we've seen them together in 4 seasons of animation with the same voice actors. But these 2 actors have never played these characters before in a scene, and I was like, I have seen 4 seasons of these 2 do this already. Like, in that moment, I bought it completely. So maybe season 2 will get more of that. But I'll put it this way, I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I can't even quite place why she doesn't quite work for me, because, like, I'm looking at, like, the action she takes in the show, and I'm like, well, she's doing Hera-type stuff. There's nothing, like, out of character here. I don't know.
Is it maybe because in the animation...
She's very tall.
In the animation, you think maybe because it's animated, they're animated in such a way that kind of makes her maybe larger than life, but then, like, for live action, they've got to have more TV subtleties to the acting that the animated version didn't have.
Maybe that's it.
It's like, people talk about, theatre acting, you've got to act really big so the audience can see you, but on TV it's all about subtlety, with doing a lot with not showing much.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I've been very vocal that Rosario Dawson Ahsoka has never quite worked for me.
Indeed.
I've said this since Mando Season 2, when she first showed up. I think she looks better in this show. Like, they've made some changes to, like, the headpiece and the makeup to make it look slightly less bad.
They got full-time budget for it now.
I guess so. But yes, I see now that the show is over that they were doing, like, a thing where, like, early show Ahsoka is, like, really dour and all that, and then later on she becomes more snippy. I think I would have bought it more if the performance was better.
I can't 100% disagree with you. I've never hated Rosario Dawson as the role. I think something I'd said on Twitter was her version of Ahsoka in Mando and in the Book of Boba Fett, Mando Season 2.5, was that maybe slightly stoic, bordering on boring, is fine when she's a supporting character. But as a lead, it's less interesting. So we only had to deal with half of a season with that criticism in play. Now I'm fine.
Fair enough. And maybe she'll grow on me in Season 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to see any backpedaling. I think this is a show looking forward.
I think something I've enjoyed about this show, more than I expected, is... This show, to me, feels like, on a broader scale, kind of a deconstruction of what being a Jedi means in Star Wars. I don't know if you got that impression as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like a former Jedi that's doing good in Ahsoka and a former Jedi that's doing bad in Balin.
Yeah, and also all the stuff with Sabine learning to be a Jedi as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which
being
I came
more
around
sensitive,
on.
but maybe not being the most talented.
I came around on it. At first, when it was first introduced, I thought, this is weird. Why are we making Sabine a Jedi? But I think the show sold me on it.
Yeah, I'm a wee bit still reserved. I think commit to being a Mandalorian Jedi or don't, because there was a scene in the last episode where Ahsoka, Ezra, and sorry, I'm going to cough here, but leave it in because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not very well.
There's been so many before this that you haven't heard.
Yeah, Kyle's done a great job at editing them out. This one it has to get left in. Sorry, folks. I think there was a scene with Ezra, Sabine, and Ahsoka where they're fighting off all the stormtroopers in the bay of the temple.
Mm-hmm.
And all three of them have the lightsabers out. And then I was like, they're kind of advancing pretty close to you guys. Maybe, a blaster would be helpful. And then, thankfully, Ahsoka is like, Sabine, use your blasters. And the whole Mandalorian aesthetic is much more, in my opinion, suited to those dual wielding of blasters than that lightsaber. I just think, just visually, it's more interesting. It reminds me more of Rebels, seeing her with her two blasters and two Jedi standing next to her, It's a little bit more dynamic.
It bothered me, speaking of Mandalorian armor. What the hell happened to Sabine's jetpack?
Oh yeah, that was really that was frying my brain the whole time.
She had a jetpack in Rebels, right?
She didn't get it until later, but yeah.
No, it was like a moment when she got a jetpack. It was a big deal.
Yeah, yeah. I think she went back to Mandalore.
Yeah, so many times when a jetpack would have come in really handy.
Absolutely, she wouldn't have needed to do a big force jump. She could have just flown, holding Ezra as she did in the animated show. Speaking of very briefly, speaking of people that can fly, what are we thinking of Marek?
Oh, what a boy. What a legend.
What a glorious 3 weeks of fan speculation he was.
Oh God, it was a nightmare.
And they nipped it in the bud. They were like, he's no one.
He's just such a nightmare.
He's just a visual.
He's going to be Star Killer. He's going to be a resurrected Kanan Jarrus. He's going to be Cal Kestis.
He's going to be, what's her name? Barra Sophie.
He's going to be Barriss, yep. and he was just some schmuck, and
He
I
was
was so happy.
Smoke monster. I would like to know more about him, but not him being another character in the universe, just him as an original being, you know?
Thankfully, it seems like there's been less. It seems like everyone got their speculation out of the way with him, and there's been less speculation for Captain Enoch.
For 2 seconds, everyone was wondering, is that Ezra? Has Ezra been turned? I saw it. I saw everyone saying that. Like, obviously, it was the same episode that Ezra was revealed at the end, but I saw like everyone saying, "Oh, yo, who thought that was Ezra for 2 minutes?" And I was like, I never thought it was Ezra. God, I would have hated that.
That would have been so stupid.
I should say, I love Enoch. I think Captain Enoch's so cool.
I mean, he doesn't do much. He's a cool visual, though.
Absolutely. He's the new Boba Fett. He's what they always wanted Captain Phasma to be, but they're not making a statement about it. He's the
I like
cool
that he's
visual.
a short king.
He what?
I like that he's a short king.
Yeah, I mean, I actually don't think that he's short. I think that he's just supposed to accentuate how tall Thrawn is.
I think when you see him next to other characters, he's pretty short.
I will need to look again, but I thought he was...
I think when you see him, he's shorter than Sabine.
I thought he was cast short to make Thrawn look tall, you know?
I mean, that's probably true.
Yeah, but in reality, still shorter? Yeah, probably. But
I love
like
the design of all the night troopers.
Yeah, I like all the gold and the
that.
cracks, stuff like
and all
that.
the bandages wrapped up and stuff like that. It's such a cool look.
Absolutely terrific. I like Enoch's stormtrooper faceplate being taken off and replaced with like a gold mask. Like, I like his like almost like his Captain Rex. I don't know what the name is for it, but like the fabrics that go down around the waist, like a Titan mark in Destiny.
Yes, I don't know what they're called either. I'm sure they have a name.
Oh, they definitely do. I just can't think of it. But such just a cool visual character who probably doesn't do much, but almost just like a right-hand man that's just cool to look at.
He'll be a boss fight at some point, I'm sure.
Captain Enoch, terrific. Yeah, oh yeah, he'll be a boss fight. He'll go out like probably really underwhelmingly because he is ultimately a stormtrooper.
I think, there's a lot of people with lightsabers in this show, and there's a lot of lightsaber fights in this show.
Which, you know, is refreshing, I guess, despite everyone saying they're fed up of lightsabers.
Because I was thinking about that, like, the last time we had proper lightsaber fights was, like, Rise of Skywalker. No,
yeah,
it was
Kenobi.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
It was Kenobi. I just forget that show exists. No, but unlike Kenobi, the fights in this show, they felt really heavily stylized, which I liked. They were going for the samurai movie aesthetic with them, which I quite enjoyed.
I would comment on that to say that it was a mixed bag, because sometimes I actually think Rosario Dawson, it might be a stunt double, but I think
I'm sure it is.
I think the fight choreography looks really slow. Like the criticisms of the prequels from back in the day was that all the fast-paced lightsaber choreography almost felt like a dance. Like it was just really just twirling like a cheerleader halftime performance.
Right, yeah.
And I think the sequel trilogy, actually, to their credit, done quite a good balance of realistic sword fighting mixed with a little bit of the prequel, finesse. Mm-hmm. But I think in this show, it does look a little bit too much like it's played in slow motion, the actual twirls and stuff like that. The only fights that I thought actually looked really good were Ahsoka fighting Bail the first time, anything with Anakin Skywalker, and the final fight with Morgan Elsbeth.
See, I've seen a lot of people commenting on the slowness. It doesn't really bother me because it feels stylistic to me because it's trying to emulate those old samurai films where things are a little bit slower. It's so you can follow all the action more clearly. It doesn't bother me that much.
For some reason, to me, it looks like I'm watching rehearsals because I'm somebody that likes to watch like making of stuff, and they will sometimes show like B-roll of actors in rehearsals for a scene. And in the rehearsals, you can very clearly see them do the moves that you'll see in the finished product, but they're all doing it slowly so that they know their marks and stuff. And because I've seen so much of that before, I'm watching this and I'm like, oh, it feels like that's what I'm seeing, but it's all done up to be the final product. And another cough
please
for the
cough again.
microphone.
Your voice is changing.
Yeah.
I could hear it happening.
Yeah, in real time, I could hear it as well.
Well, you mentioned Anakin there. Should we talk about Anakin?
Before we speak about Anakin, can we please speak about his droid, Anthony Daniels? I mean, C-3PO.
Yeah, Anthony Daniels. What a guy.
I was surprised to see C-3PO show up in Ahsoka. And
I don't know why. I mean, it's C-3PO.
No, I know, but like I kind of thought they kind of wouldn't touch C-3PO. I don't know why.
After his dramatic death in Rise of Skywalker, his great final scene where he looks at his friends one last time
and gets rebooted and everything's fine anyway.
Yes.
No, I just kind of thought, like, who cares about C-3PO without the accompaniment of like a main character? And then they just kind of used it as like a messenger from Leia Organa. I actually think they would have been more effective if they sent R2, even though R2 is with Luke, but then done like a hologram projection of Leia. And it could be Belly Lord, it could be whoever. And because they seem to be leaning into the deepfake thing, you do that, whatever. And have it actually be Leia giving the message. I was like, why is C-3PO doing this? And then
it did feel odd.
We spoke
that
about
it was C-3PO.
We spoke about afterwards how like I bet it was Anthony Daniels. There was no doubt in my mind it was Anthony Daniels.
I feel like maybe getting a bit old for it. I stand corrected.
Oh, I know so much about Anthony Daniels from like the convention circuits and stuff like that, and stories you read online, and like even to his own who he is in interviews and stuff. I bet he's gonna get buried when he dies wearing C-3PO's costume.
He's going to be in a golden coffin.
Yeah, exactly.
The greatest character in all of Star Trek, or Star Wars, and Star Trek.
The greatest character in science fiction, Kyle.
And yeah, of course. The
greatest character in fiction.
I mean, I love seeing Mon Mothma there, but she really should look about 20 years older.
That actor is doing a lot of good work as Mon Mothma now after being in deleted scenes from Revenge of the Sith. She's just showing up everywhere now. Full on supporting role in Andor, showing up in Mando, I think.
It's very jarring to have that connection to Andor, because it's like a reminder that those are both in the same universe.
Yeah.
This show about space wizards going to other universes, and this very serious show about dismantling fascism.
However, I also wonder if it'll kind of deflate seeing her, because when you see Andor Season 2 and she's still like a senator on the run, and then you watch Ahsoka and she's the Chancellor of the New Republic, you know, and you're like, I've seen how this is going to work out for you, it's all fine.
I mean, we knew that anyway.
I know, but
it's a prequel. It's the prequel thing.
I know it's the prequel thing, but it's because this is all happening so close together. I feel like I'm just like, who I think was it you who said parents are having trouble dealing with the timelines, like where everything matches up, and it's all just so neatly packed together because it's a conveyor belt. You'll be like, here's Mon Mothma as a rebel senator. Here's Mon Mothma as Chancellor of the New Republic. Here's Mon Mothma back to being on the run senator. You know.
Yeah, it doesn't help that she looks exactly the same.
That
doesn't help things.
That's kind of the point I'm trying to put across, I guess.
I mean, yeah, she does fine work. But,
where were we? Anakin Skywalker. I'm so happy, Kyle. I love Anakin Skywalker. I love Hayden Christensen in the role. It's so nice to see him getting some validation for the part. I know he was in Kenobi, but really under the Darth Vader outfit, and bar like one flashback, there wasn't much.
No, he was significantly more prevalent in this show.
Loved it. I bet people that don't remember the prequels will be like, what? Who is this? You know, because people still don't know Ahsoka as is, you know, and you're going, oh, is that Darth Vader? Because everyone will know the Darth Vader bit. We got Clone Wars flashbacks, Kyle. He was in the armour.
I saw.
I believe you said something about it feels weird to have your childhood now being the childhood that gets pandered to by big business.
Yes, I did say that.
I'm fine with it.
I mean, you've been there since Picard season 3.
Yeah, I have. That's true. I mean, I've been there since Luke Skywalker showed up in Mando season 2.
I mean, that was also for me, I guess. I just didn't like it.
Yeah, you just didn't like it, yeah. But I guess for Picard season 3, because I'd been on that train a lot longer than you. Yeah, definitely.
I have mixed thoughts.
Okay.
I like that episode. I like all of the stuff in it. I really loved the little moment where when Ahsoka says, like, something about all the war crimes he's committing. He's like, oh, is that what this is about? That's perfect.
Yeah.
I love all the parts where he switches between Anakin and Darth Vader.
All those flashes are so cool.
The whole scene, and this is my constant problem with all these Star Wars shows, is it just, I can see the volume. I can see the volume in the background. I can always see it. I find it really distracting. All the shots when Thrawn is in that hangar, and it's like he's in the volume. It's... And this is, I think this is, I don't know if this is just a me problem, but I just find it so distracting.
I kind of let it go for the Ahsoka World Between Worlds stuff, because all that smoke machine's doing overtime, and it's supposed to be like a vision anyway. You know?
I allow it there. I understand why people think it looks cheap, because it kind of does, but I understand what they were going for. I think they could have done more to make the smoke look a little bit more ethereal or something. I don't know.
Maybe make the floor feel a little bit more like it is just made of smoke.
Yes, something like that.
But I love... Hayden Christensen has not lost a step with his skills with a lightsaber. Or just as a swordsman, I guess, because he was trained by the lightsaber trainer who was in the prequels, and he actually in this fought with movie-level choreography, in my opinion, because... his training is of the movie level. He doesn't need all the learning and training time that a lot of folk will have had to have done for this show, because he's just not lost a step for the stuff he learned for the films.
And it was nice to see him deliver lines that don't suck.
Yeah, exactly, right. Hayden Christensen, quite good, actually. I loved seeing him speak to Ahsoka in the flashback scene that wasn't Rosario Dawson. The girl she was recently in the new Barbie movie. She was the young girl in that. She was also a child.
Young Gamora.
Gamora, yeah.
Yes.
In Infinity War. Like, just terrific. I love seeing the clones. This is the first time we've ever seen live action Phase 1 clone armor, Kyle.
Oh, that's true, because it was all CGI in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
What a feat.
No, exactly, right? I think maybe it looked a little bit 501st fan community, but like it's fine. It's really fine. I wish they said the name Rex.
I wish they got the Clone Wars actor to play Rex, because I found old Tamara Morrison's voice really distracting.
I think that if they're trying to remain consistent for live action, they just gotta say, yeah, it's Tamara Morrison. Like, what are you gonna do? You know, if he takes off his helmet and they bring him back in the future and he sounds different from how he sounded here. Like, we saw that 501st clone in Kenobi. We saw that 501st clone in Kenobi. Like, I think we just... I'm fine accepting the animation to live action differences. I think. I say think because undoubtedly there'll be something that either I already am aware of but can't quite think of, or something that hasn't happened yet, or I'll be like, that's too much. But, you know, I think at the moment I'm fine with it. Yes, it sounds different, but I understand it's Tamara Morrison who is the clones for live action.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that he sounds older. I just find it distracting.
Yeah. I understand. I completely understand. I like seeing Ahsoka fight Anakin with he having a red lightsaber. Something new and interesting there, you know?
Yeah.
I thought it was very...
The whole thing that Anakin was Darth Vader, not the suit and all that. Yeah.
I thought it was very interesting of them to end the Ahsoka show. The final shot is the shot of Force Ghost. Anakin Skywalker.
I don't like that. I thought that was a bad creative choice.
Yeah. Even the original trilogy had the good sense to, despite looking at the Force Ghosts, have the actual final shot be like a school photograph of the entire cast of the films.
I was just going to say that exact point. Like, you can have the Force Ghost there, but the final shot should be of the main characters.
Yeah, exactly, right? Apparently, there's a line from there where Sabine says like it was just twinkling in the starlight or something, shadows of the starlight.
Shadows in the starlight.
And apparently, like the same day, a High Republic comic book by that name also came out.
Is that true?
That's apparently. Convenient. Yeah, very convenient, right?
Nice little bit of cross-promotion there.
A little bit of cross-promotion there, exactly.
It was a weird turn of phrase, because Starlight Beacon is like a big thing in the High Republic. That did catch me by off guard, but yeah.
Well, maybe we should speak about where we think this is going. Anakin apparently is here for the long run now. He isn't just here as a bit of fan service. I actually think he's going to be a recurring character for the length of this show. I think
I didn't get that impression at all.
I I know. I think that if they weren't going to do that, Anakin wouldn't have shown up as a Force ghost at the end.
Oh, I totally just took that as like a Return of the Jedi, he's watching on type thing. I didn't take that as comparing that to the end of Kenobi when Qui-Gon Jinn shows up and he's like, "We're going to go on adventures together." Well, this was not that.
Well, so I think that's because they knew Kenobi was a limited run. I think this is a show where you show Sabine, you show Ahsoka. Here are two characters going forward, and here's someone coming along for the ride. I honestly believe creatively, because we're both saying it's a weird creative choice to end it with Anakin. I think that is supposed to be the reveal that, oh, actually Anakin is here as a manifestation, his Force ghost. Anakin is coming along for this ride. He might not be in every episode, but he will be somebody that is going to be showing up from time to time. And
you think he's going to pop up like Obi-Wan in the original trilogy?
But a hell of a lot more frequent. But yes, in theory, yeah. I think that's it. Yeah, Anakin is back. He may be dead, but for the purposes of this show, it's until Ahsoka finds out how to get home anyway.
We'll see, because they're doing the Mortis gods.
Yeah, right. I amazed. I say amazed. I probably should have seen it coming. It's Dave Filoni.
I'm amazed you didn't see that in the shot. You said a message afterwards, like, I can't believe I didn't notice that. I'm like, how? How did you not notice the massive statue he was standing on?
I knew the massive statue he was standing on, but I was thinking of, in Rogue One on Jeddah, there's those big ancient Jedi statues.
Yes.
I just thought it was like another one of those fucking things, something like that, Like just a big I actually first thought of Lord of the Rings with the big guard statues in the river.
See, I'm a man of culture. I thought of Naruto.
Yeah, naturally, of course. I was thinking Lord of the Rings and a bit of Rogue One. It wasn't until I saw afterwards. Oh, of course. I love that shot, by the way, of Balin standing on the edge of the finger, pointing out forward over to the mountains, and it is the father, and you see the son off to the right, and you can kind of see the body of the daughter between the gap and the cliff. But the head is it's decapitated. But there also is that gap between them.
Very symbolic.
Yeah, very symbolic, very symbolic. And also Ahsoka's little owl also showed up in the last episode.
Yeah, that owl that keeps showing up and we still don't have any explanation for it.
We all kind of know it's supposed to be the daughter, right? It's the colour scheme of the daughter.
I think she has it in the Mortis episodes as well.
Yeah, she does. I mean, everyone's saying Anakin is the replacement for the father and Ahsoka's the replacement for the daughter. But
symbolically, Balin is standing on top of the father's arm. So
yes, oh well, naturally. But he's going on a quest, I think, to do more of the Mortis stuff. I think that's going to be his story. Like Arya Stark in Game of Thrones, she went off across to Essos to learn how to become, a deadly assassin. That's her. Mm-hmm. That's her plot point until she folds back in later. Balin's plot point is go out to become a evil, Mortis person.
It's really more of a Bram Stark, Three-Eyed Raven situation.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Absolutely is. I just kind of jumped on Arya for completely superfluous reasons. But it's more of a Bran Stark, Three-Eyed Raven situation, and then he'll fall back in a wheelchair, possibly.
If I can say, I'm a little bit worried about this, because I like the Mortis Gods episodes of Clone Wars, but they're a very odd concept, and I can see very easily this all going horribly wrong.
Yeah, I do agree with you, but I think that this is the natural conclusion of where this has all been going for a long time now. I remember when the Mortis God showed up in the end of Rebels in the pictures.
Yes.
I was quite surprised to see them come back, and I think that was one of the few moments in Rebels where I was like, this actually really is a continuation of the Clone Wars. I know Ahsoka's there, right? But
it wasn't the episode where they literally do the Clone Wars for an episode.
Wait, of course, right? But that was a romp,
Uh-huh.
Because those droids flew off and we've still never seen them again. But
he joined the Bedlam Raiders, Nathan.
But I think that we're due. This is Dave Filoni always had plans for this because it's never fully been explored. It's an idea that I think he has a lot of thoughts of. Even in Rebels, you can see there's more there. You see this, even the world between worlds and the Mortis gods. There's so much here that's kind of undefined but does exist.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is going to be Dave Filoni's legacy to Star Wars.
I mean, yeah, it's a big swing. It's gods in Star Wars, and like it's not a new concept. It's been there for a while now. But the thing about that original Mortis Gods episode is it was never quite clear how real it was.
I know they got their minds wiped at the end, but I never for a moment was under like some sort of impression that it was supposed to just be them tripping.
No, I don't mean that, but like, are they just like ancient force wielders, or are they actually gods? It was left deliberately ambiguous.
Oh, yeah. I guess we'll find out. I kind of took it a little bit like in the Marvel vein of like Thor and Loki and stuff like that. Like, what is a god to other people from a different perspective, you know? Just science that you haven't discovered.
But if I remember correctly, they said that like the son and the daughter fighting had a direct effect on the Clone Wars happening. Did they not say that?
I know they said that the balance of the Force will be upset based on what happened there, because the daughter was dead, hence the dark side having more power. And
didn't the son also die?
I think Anakin killed the son, but that was to foreshadow. I think at the time he was going to take the place of the son and be Darth Vader. Didn't they all die? Didn't the dad die?
I think he did as well. Yeah,
they're all dead. That's why there's new Mortis gods, you know, being Anakin, Ahsoka, and whoever else.
Some people have pointed out, and I do kind of agree, that the face of the son on the statue looks a lot like Sam Witwer. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think he did voice the son in those episodes.
Yeah.
Remember voices evil
remember
guys.
The biggest controversy in Star Wars was how much the Grand Inquisitor looked like the son.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Remember that? That was the biggest upset in the Star Wars community. Oh, simpler times.
Oh, back when Rebels was new.
It was like, is it the son? And to be fair, I actually don't know why they made them look so similar.
Yeah, it's weird because it's the same creative team.
Exactly, right? And then when you see him in live action, is he just going to look like the Grand Inquisitor from Kenobi?
I hope not. I hope he looks better than that.
It'd be nice if it actually just was Sam Witwer, you know, because that means he's never going to be Starkiller, you know?
That would be great, actually. I'm so on board for that.
You're like, oh, he's the son? That great. Then you can never be Starkiller. He's put to bed.
Okay. Where else do I think this is going to go? That was what we were talking about, is speculation.
Shin Hati going to become some sort of Raider Queen?
I mean, that's the implication.
Yeah, she's going to like find a home with these people.
I will say, and maybe this may be a point of disagreement, I'm so disappointed by Peridia. It's so boring. It's just Iceland. Like when you compare it to Dathomir, it's like, this is supposed to be the ancient home of the witches. It's just like a normal planet.
I kind of didn't really know what to expect, to be honest.
I expect when you make a big deal of going to another universe, you should make it look a bit more alien, you know?
I loved the big, tall, screaming statues. And the Great Mothers. I think there was a lot of inspirations from Dune in this. I thought the Great Mothers gave off... Did you watch Dune?
I have not watched Dune yet, no.
Traffic film. So the Great Mothers gave off the Bene Gesserit vibes, which are like nuns, but each great house has one, a bit like a maester in Game of Thrones, or like, I guess, like just a priest in real medieval life, where even though they could all be at war with each other, all these warring factions, the Bene Gesserit would still send a representative to everyone, and they would be sought to for counsel, but they could also have mysterious powers. That's what the Great Mothers, that's what their vibe very much was in this show, with how they spoke and how they acted, except obviously they're very biased.
I pulled in a more ancient reference for those, which is the Three Fates, which I think they're actually named after.
Well, yeah, Macbeth, you know, of course.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of the filmography and how they were shot and stylized and stuff, it gave me very much Dune vibes. I know one of our friend Harris had said her is Thrawn Macbeth. But I was saying, nah, it's not Thrawn, because who did he have to betray, you know? Thrawn's his own man.
Did you see people are mad that Thrawn said "Long live the Empire" in the last episode?
Yeah, why would he be mad at that? I never heard anyone say that they were mad at that. Why?
It's book people. It's Thrawn book people, because apparently in the books, there's like a faction of Thrawn fans who are like, "Oh, Thrawn isn't a villain; he's a misunderstood anti-hero." And he's just using the Empire to protect the ascendancy, the Chiss ascendancy, all those people.
I mean, I have read books, the Thrawn novels. I think they're being a little bit too kind to him.
What do you think? They're being too kind to Thrawn by calling him an anti-hero?
Well, no, but what? Yeah, no, definitely, right? But whilst he may have that as an interest, I think he can also go, me doing this work is what I want to do, and it just so happens to have the effect of, the Chiss are secure. But, I mean, he's met Anakin, because in the show when he learns that Ahsoka's Anakin's apprentice, and he kind of freezes, and everybody's like joking about that online, because he's like, oh my god, it's Anakin Skywalker's apprentice. He knows Anakin, they fought in the Clone Wars together, and then he was one of the few people who knew Anakin had become Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he quite clearly references that in that episode, which is a good little scene.
It is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's back in the main universe, and I don't know, if in this show we're going to visit that more. I think that's kind of being pawned off to other shows, would be my guess.
What, do you think that's Thrawn and Ezra and Hera back there now, and season 2 of Ahsoka is just going to be set in this universe?
Potentially. That wouldn't shock me.
I hadn't considered that until just now. Because I did have a question mark over my head at the end there, where they're like, oh, well, Ezra went home and we need to let go, and this is what we're doing now, onwards and upwards. But my whole time I was thinking, why you just go get a star whale, head home. Star Whales.
I can counter that for you there, because the whales come there to die, so right. They don't leave again.
Yes, but they did hyperspace out when the mines were going off, so it's not like they can't leave. And I totally was predicting, I think I may have said this to you, full Wrath of Khan / episode 4 of Star Trek Picard season 3, where death and rebirth, that's where the whales go to die, but it's also their hatching ground. And that's
okay, yeah, you're right. There's going to be a big nest on the planet somewhere.
Exactly, right? Exactly. I actually happen to think that now that they're staying there after the Mortis reveal, is they're going to get on some Loth wolves and they're going to run through some caves and show up back on Lothal. Just to...
or they'll take their little, crocodile dog horse things.
Possibly, yeah, absolutely. And
I say it doesn't matter. I love the snail turtle men. I love them so much.
I'm kind of...
They're straight out of Rebels, and I love them.
They are straight out of Rebels. I'm kind of ambivalent towards them. I like their little turtle shell vehicles. Like when the raiders show up, they can just bonk them down and just survive anything. Apparently,
they're hardy.
Yeah,
and survive in this world it's only populated by snail men, 3 witches, and a bunch of random Ronin guys.
How did anyone get there? How does any of this work?
I hope that season 2 will flesh out the random Ronin guys some more. What's their deal? Where did they come from?
Do you think other civilizations of this galaxy just dump these people on this planet and let the witches deal with them?
It's weird that they're there, right? It's a random little group that's just half there. Who do they raid? Do they raid the snail men? Is that it? It's just a population of raiders and snail men constantly at war? Exactly.
These witch people left this planet with the Star Whales to go to Dathomir. They set up camp in the Star Wars main galaxy on Dathomir, but some stayed behind on this planet. For what reasons? We kind of don't know. Why did they leave this galaxy in the first place? What was in the main Star Wars galaxy that appealed to them?
Yes, there's a lot of open questions there.
But yeah,
it's an interesting concept, but you do need to flesh it out a bit more.
You make a super good point though about I not for one second did I considered, they'll just leave Thrawn. Thrawn is now in the main galaxy again. That's for Heir to the Empire movie to deal with. That's for some other show yet unannounced.
Skeleton Crew?
Jesus, no, I hope not.
I mean, what is that? That show is set in this era, right?
I think so. From all I hear, by the way, about Skeleton Crew, apparently it's not looking good.
But it has Jude Law in it.
It's great. He's in Fantastic Beasts movies as well. What's so weird? This, despite the Mortis arc, which I think is quite interesting, in terms of location specific. I don't care about this other galaxy. I just want to go back to Galaxy Prime and do their Mortis story back there.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, this planet is really boring. It's just a normal planet. If this was some, like, really bizarre, like, alien landscape, I would be more invested in staying here for longer. But it's just like grass and rocks and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong.
And yeah, it's like, look at Dathomir. Dathomir is amazing. It's like red skies and all these weird brambles, and it's
you
like...
know why they won't do that? It's because they don't have the budget.
They've got the volume, Nathan. They can just do it.
They'll build a little... It will just be the same set as the Clone Wars flashback with the red hue.
Exactly.
They'll just put some trees around. What's in the box, Kyle?
What's in the box?
What's in all the magic sarcophagi?
Oh, it's dead witches or something, I assume.
We presume that, right?
Yeah.
Is it a lot of speculation? What's in the box? You know, what's in the box? What's in the box? And I think it's lots more zombies.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it could subvert it, and it's like a bunch of witches in cryogenic stasis, but I'm assuming they're just zombies.
Is Darth Maul coming back?
Darth Maul's pretty definitively dead.
Witch magic. What's happening with Savage Opress?
Why would they bring Darth Maul back now? I can see them doing Darth Maul and some more prequel stuff before Rebels, but I don't see why they would bring him back in this era.
Because Dave Filoni fan service stuff.
Yeah, but if they're doing The Sun with Sam Witwer, then you've got the same thing, basically.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. That's okay. Yeah. They'll bring back Asajj Ventress.
Oh, I hope not.
They undo the book.
She's the only major character from Clone Wars who's not been in live action at this point, I think.
Yeah, that's true. She's famously supposed to be in Attack of the Clones and scrap.
That's true, and then they replaced her when they realised they could get Christopher Lee. The correct decision, in my opinion.
The correct decision, yeah. But
I like Ventress, but Count Dooku is such a great character. So
lovely career in animation. From the original Clone Wars, the 2D one.
She does get mentioned. She
does.
Anakin mentions her in that hologram.
Isn't it nice when people that actually know the source material make shows based on the source material?
It's pretty good.
Isn't it nice?
I mean, the difference here is it's not someone who he made the source material, right? It's not someone who knows it. It's Dave Filoni. It's still Dave Filoni.
It is true continuity.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't come up with some of these stuff, because his early Clone Wars was still very much George Lucas's thing. He was George Lucas's apprentice.
But everyone agrees that Clone Wars gets better when he becomes more involved.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not wrong. Yeah.
When Ahsoka gets out of that tank top, which was thankfully retconned, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's so fine. I hadn't even thought about it. Everyone was talking about it, and I was like, what do you mean tank top? And I was like, yeah. I
guess
know
it's not a tank top, it's a tube top, whatever.
Yeah, a tube top, yeah, you're right.
You know what? You know what's hard to say on this show? When gauging, perception is... Twitter sucks. I'm sure you know this. Twitter sucks.
Yeah, I've been aware of this for some time.
Yeah, but even more so than usual, I feel like Twitter is specifically trying to annoy me.
Why?
It just it shows me a bunch of hot takes about Star Wars and other things, and it's tempting me to respond to these bad ideas.
Oh yeah. Like the algorithm is almost amplifying weirder and weirder takes to bait you into engaging.
Yes, I've seen a lot of people who are in the most recent Ahsoka episodes. It keeps showing people who are mad at the way the zombies are taken care of, and the main characters don't start decapitating them. And I'm like, who cares, right?
Who cares?
This is not a serious criticism.
I don't think it was a very family-friendly way of having Ezra behead one of those zombie death troopers, where they do he beheads them behind one of the pillars. Did you see the head roll out?
Yeah, they're not going to start chopping off a bunch of limbs, and you can do one limb chop. You can't just start chopping off the legs of all of them.
Yeah.
What kind of show do you think this is?
You get one, and then you got to put it on Hulu and not Disney Plus.
Although the moment where Ahsoka stabs that one through the head and the eyes go green, that was pretty badass.
Oh, that was a really nice shot, wasn't it? It was a good attention to detail, because they didn't have to do that. Like have the light. They could have just said the visor tint was so strong it stayed black anyway. No, they highlighted through the window. Ah, great.
And it was a classic, very symbolic Star Wars moment. She's reaching out to the Force for a lightsaber. It's just like, look in the cave. I see what you're doing.
I've seen Star Wars.
I've seen Star Wars. Well, I'll see you in 5 months.
Okay.